another Smite build video. I am your host, Shui. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. If my voice sounds a little raspy, it's because I kind of just woke up and I'm still trying to shake off all the crust and the rust from sleeping. But I figured I might as well just jump right in and start recording. We are going to be going over Freya, Queen of the Valkyries. I would like to apologize in advance. This is my third time trying to record this. Fourth wall broken. English language is not my language today. It's not. I can't pronounce anything. I'm stuttering over my own words. So I'm probably going to be jumping over words and not pronouncing everything. And like pretty much I'm just going to skip ones that have been giving me trouble. I know I'm not dumb, guys. I know how to read. But like in my head, I'm just throwing in different variables and vowels and stuff to try to screw up the pronunciation. I don't know what's going on with me today. But we're just going to go ahead and dive right into her abilities really quick. And it is her passive, which is Freya's necklace grants her additional magical lifesteal with 15% starting out of the gate, which is very, very powerful. Also, I'd like to stress that Freya is considered a mage, but she's not really a mage. Like, she's not a mid laner. She's not like some little basic magical damage guy. Like, she's built very, very weird for a mage. And she's more like an assassin or an ADC than really a mage. I use her in ADC lane a lot. That's why we're doing an ADC build. But she's weird. Like, she's a very weird god. I don't know why she's considered a mage. I would definitely consider her an assassin. I mean, she'd kind of be broken if she had physical items to build. I'm gonna be honest here, but I don't know. We'll keep moving on. Her one is Freya activates a buff that makes her basic attacks do additional magical damage with 100 cap plus 25% of your magical power, and it lasts for 5 seconds. Now, there's a 1-2 combo that you're gonna be using here for Freya. It's very, very strong. And it starts with Pulse and then Irradiate. And pretty much you're going to pop Pulse, which we're going to go over right now. Pulse, Freya activates a buff that makes her basic attacks ranged, dealing additional magical damage and slowing the targets and all nearby enemies. The area effect and slow is lost when Irradiate is active. So, and it caps out at 60 plus 15% of your magical power, and the slow is 25%. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pop your 2, which is Pulse. You're going to shoot 1 color ball is what I call it. Pretty much it's your basic attack that's ranged. It's a giant colorful ball that smacks into him and explodes. I'm sure you've seen it before in game. You're going to pop Pulse, shoot 1 ball. You're going to hit the person you're going after and slow them for the next 5 seconds, I believe. I think it's a 5-second slow. Or no, I think it's like a 2-second slow. I don't know. They don't give you the time on the slow. I don't know how long the slow lasts, but it's 25%. You're going to hit him with the slow. And then you're going to pop your Irradiate, your 1. And then you're going to just hammer down. Like, you're going to hit them with a slow, pop, hammer down. It's that simple, because you get that slow on them so they don't really start running away from you that fast. And then you also want to pop Irradiate because it gives you that damage bonus, and then you can also be hitting them at a range. And I'm sure Pulse, I think, decreases before Irradiate does. So then you'll be able to pretty much close the gap and then just swing away and probably wrap them up, if not ult to wrap them up. So it's a very combo-esque type kit that she has, so you'll pretty much learn how to do it. She's kind of hard to learn, honestly. She's really squishy out of the gate, so you got to make sure you watch that and don't challenge anybody that you know is just going to be able to eat you alive. Her next one is actually her getaway or close, and that's banish. At her ground target location, Freya banishes her enemies into the air for a short time. The enemies can't be hit or take action while in the air for 2 seconds. Pretty much, I'm sure you've seen it, that whoop sound that she makes. She goes whoop, and she like throws them up in the air, and then they're like just sitting there floating there in color clouds. That's pretty much what this is. There's 2 ways you can use this. While they're running away, you can throw it ahead of them to stop them, to close the gap. Or while you're trying to get away, you can throw it at your feet when they're right behind you, and it'll throw them up in the air and you can actually get away. So it's very, very useful. It has high utility and actually pretty much helps you close the gap and get your combo going. So that's what I mainly use it for, is to close the gap, because usually people are running away from me as Freya. I'm not usually running from people. So her ult is Freya uses her Cloak of Feathers to fly above the battlefield, where she fires down blasts of magical damage up to 4 times while flying. Freya can't be hit when at full ascension and can cancel it anytime. Caps at 240 plus 35% of your magical power, and that is 240 per shot, so you have 4 max. Pretty much all you do is you fly up in the air, you get giant colorful northern light wings, and then you just power down just 4 devastating blasts. Like, they do so much damage. And especially with a magical power build, which is pretty much what we're going to be building here, pretty much because your basic attacks are powered off of your magical power. So since this is an ADC build and you're going to be making your basic attacks ranged, and you're limited on how many you can do, you're going to definitely want to make sure that they hit hard to keep up with people like Rama, Artemis, Shibalanke, Apollo, stuff like that. Stuff that you're actually going to be running into a lot in the ADC lane. So we're first going to be diving into the ability build. You're actually going to be going with Pulse, Radiate, Banish, Pulse, Ult. And then you're going to go Pulse, Pulse, Irradiate, Ult, Pulse, Irradiate, Irradiate, Ult, Radiate, Banish, Banish, Ult, Banish, Banish, Ult. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You guys already know, if you've been on my channel with a long time, that you'd never leave one of your abilities unbought. You at least want to have all of them level 1 before you double up on another. Mainly due to the fact that you want to have all of your tools to your advantage. Because if you go up against somebody else, they have 3 abilities active, maybe 4 if they have their ult, and you have 2 active, maybe 3 if you have your ult, you're going to get completely demolished, because while you're recharging and on cooldowns, he has another ability to get an advantage of you in a boxing match or in some sort of combat. So actually the item build we're going to go ahead and dive into. I kind of have it on screen at the moment, so I'm actually going to wipe that away. But it's pretty self-explanatory, honestly. I really do enjoy this build. This is actually my build. Usually I write a script for myself, and like I have like all this stuff jotted down, and I know exactly what to say and all this stuff like that. But I actually do thoroughly enjoy Freya. A lot of these gods that I do reviews on, I never really play until I actually have to do a review on them, and then I go in and test builds in PvP. But I actually have been playing Freya for a while, and I enjoy her a lot. So I already pretty much have a build in my head and all of her abilities and stuff like that in my head as well. So the starter items we're actually going to go with is going to be Vampiric Shroud, which is pretty much the mage equivalent of Death's Toll. And you have 20 magical power, plus 100 health, plus 5 MP5. Killing an enemy restores 10 mana, or 10 health and 10 mana. So pretty much this is just for minion wave clear, which you're going to be doing a lot of with your pulse attacks. And also it just helps you come out of the gate a little heftier. You're going to need a lot of mana, so getting that bonus 100 mana and that bonus MP5 coming straight out of the gate is actually really helpful, because the only way that you're going to be able to compete with a basic ADC is with your pulse attacks. So you're going to be wanting to go with this build. It's going to be based on magical power, cooldown, and mana. So the next item we're actually going to buy is, you already know, since I just talking about mana, we grabbing that meditation. Because this is the real Shui's channel, and we preach meditation, because that's what the Shu crew is all about. Meditation. What we do, we meditate. We're like Buddhists. Alright, you already know it's meditation. You guys already know what you do. You pop your active, instantly return 75% of your mana directly back to your mana pool, and then gives you a crap ton of MP5 for the remaining seconds. And then we're actually going to grab our starter boots as well. A lot of times I actually don't do starter boots out of the gate with her. But this build, we're going to go ahead and do starter boots, because we're not going to be doing some crazy jazz stuff like this. This is a very good build that is consistently good. The build where I don't grab starter boots is pretty much debating on whether or not the team build on the other side, like the team comp from the other team, pretty much dictates what I build on Freya. But for this one, we're going to do the starter boot build, and then we're actually going to be grabbing 2 mana pots. And the reason why we're grabbing 2 mana pots is, as I said, you already know that you need that mana. So when you pop your meditation, you're then going to use these 2 mana pots to kind of cushion the blow of having no mana restore in between the time cooldowns on meditation. So you're going to use the mana pots to bridge the gap. The first core item that we're actually going to be grabbing is the Breastplate of Valor, which gives you 300 mana, plus 75 physical protection, and plus 25% cooldown reduction. And that's mainly due to the fact that we need as much cooldown reduction as fast as physically possible. Now, we're not going to be doing a straight out of the gate max DPS Freya, because you're going to be being an ADC, so you're going to definitely get leveled before you get powerful. Now, if you're doing like a jungle Freya, make sure you go max damage as soon as possible. But the next item is actually another cooldown one, which is the Shoes of Focus. Excuse me, I always get the Magi and the Focus mixed up. But this one gives you 30 magical power, 15% cooldown reduction, 18% movement speed. Pretty self-explanatory. And then the next item that we actually grab is where we start actually hitting like a Mack truck. And that's going to be the Obsidian Shard. I know it's super early and a lot of people are going to give me flack for it. But getting this super early, getting the 70 magical power and getting the 33% magical penetration, it's going to be very useful. Because you got to remember, you're an ADC as Freya. This is an ADC build. So you're going to be going against you're going to be going up against like super tank people such as like Sylvanas or Sobek or Ares or Athena, stuff like that. These people that are super, super thick, super fat, they're going to be the people that are going to be the supports on the other side of the field. So you definitely want to make sure you can just shred them through if it's just UV them, or if it's 2v1, you're going to be able to make sure that he's not going to want to be able to be in the way of you getting to that Apollo or Xbalanque. The next item we're actually going to grab is a pretty solid one for her, which is Hasten Fatalis, which is 30% attack speed, 10% movement speed. When a basic attack hits a target, the attacking movement speed debuff is removed from you for 1 second. Now, the reason you want to grab this is pretty self-explanatory, if you ask me. All your things that you're going to be doing are basic attacks. Like, she doesn't have any crazy things that do damage. She has her ult. That's the only thing that isn't a basic attack on her that doesn't do damage. So you're going to want to hit as hard as possible, and they're going to run from you a lot because you're going to hit like a freaking Mack truck. So what you're going to want to do is when you're hitting, you're going to want to chase them down, and you're not going to want that attack debuff slowing you down. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Hasten Fatalis on there. Next one we're actually going to be grabbing is going to be the Polynomicon. Due to the fact that it gives you 75 magical power, 300 mana, and 10% lifesteal. So that gets you up to 25% magical lifesteal, which is going to be very helpful later in late game. So it makes it to where you don't fall off as hard, because Freya can fall off if you don't build it right. But the passive is the main reason. Is using an ability gives your next basic attack within the next 8 seconds, plus 60% of your magical power is an additional magical damage. This can only happen once every 3 seconds. So you remember how you're supposed to pop your pulse, shoot a shot, pop your irradiate, shoot a shot? Well, that is because this right here is going to make that one pulse shot that you hit early to slow. Not only is it going to slow, but it's going to hit like a freaking freight train due to the fact that popping your pulse is considered using an ability. So you're going to be popping your pulse, shooting one of them, and it's going to hit with 60% of your magical power, which at this point is going to be decently high due to the fact that you're only one item away from your finished build. And then the final item that we would actually like to grab is going to be the one, the only, the Rod of Tahuti. So the Rod of Tahuti gives you 125 magical power, 15 MP5, and increased magical power by 25%. So it's very, very useful. I really don't need to explain the Rod of Tahuti. I mean, it pretty much explains itself in that passive. So, I mean, Polynomicon, 60% of your magical power. Rod of Tahuti, increase your total magical power by 25%. Gives you 125 magical power. Like, can you see where I'm going with this? Hit like a freaking truck, hit hard, hit fast, hit a lot, hit often. That's the rule here on this channel. Is hit hard, hit fast, hit often. But we're gonna go ahead and grab this and throw everything on to do the stat overlay. Now, the basic attack is only going to be hitting 156, but it's going to feel like you're hitting harder than that due to the fact that you're going to have 33% penetration. And then you're going to have 375 power, 1.61 attack speed, 25 magical lifesteal, 0 pen, but that's not including the passive from Obsidian Shard, 145 physical protection, and oh yeah, that's the other thing why I wanted to justify Breastplate of Valor before we move on. You're going to be going against a lot of hunters in the ADC lane, so you're going to want physical protection and not magical due to the fact that all hunters are physical. So you're really not going to be getting that much magical damage on you. The only thing that's going to be damaging you that's magical is maybe Guardians. But they really don't do much as is. So worrying about trying to protect yourself from them is the least of your worries. You're going to be wanting to block those Apollo shots, Xbalanque shots, Rama shots, all that stuff. You want to reduce that damage as much as possible due to the fact that you're a squishy mage. So your lifesteal with the physical resistance is going to pretty much make it to where you're going to be winning boxing matches is what your goal is here. Alright, but moving on. Now you have 145 physical protection, 48 magical protection, 2005 health, 17 HP 5, 475 movement, 40 are hard capped out, 40% cooldown, 1560 mana, and 27 MP 5. So that's pretty much it, guys. This build is pretty much amazing. This is what I use about 90% of the time. I don't know if it's exactly the build that you saw on screen when we first dove in here. I tweaked it a little bit for ADC lane because that was actually, I think it was my jungle build that was on here actually. But I tweaked it a little bit just to kind of get a good basis and pretty much a most reliable build for you guys. Because the other one can be flippy flop depending on the build on the other team. This one is pretty much reliable about 90% of the time, as long as you're not going against like a team full of assassins, because then you're going to be in some trouble. But If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button for me. You already know it's greatly appreciated. Make sure you comment down below if you did enjoy this, if Freya is your favorite, because she's working her way in my heart, or if you have any other gods you'd like to see me build. And also, if you were new to my channel and you enjoyed the build and you enjoyed what you saw here, you learned a thing or two, if I put a smile on your face, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, become part of the Shu crew, because you already know this is where all the cool kids hang out. We come here, we learn some stuff, and we get better at what we do best, and that is gaming. That's pretty much it for me, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I will talk to you later. Peace!